So, hello everyone. My name's Kieran. Welcome back to the Newport County pre-match podcast. 2 in a row. I can't say I've done that for a good little while. So, of course, we've got Stockport at home on Saturday. I would like to have said a top of the table clash, but it's rather top versus bottom. So, not top versus bottom, but top versus near bottom. You know what? We'll be optimistic in saying that. So, yeah, I'm joined by Hannah today, who, of course, is a Stockport fan. First of all, thank you for coming on, and how are you?
I'm good, thank you for having me. And it's a Port County clash as well.
It
So
is a
that's
Port.
memorable. Maybe that's better than top versus not top.
Yeah, maybe we say it's we'll say it's the county derby. No, because that doesn't work. It's Notts County. Ah,
It's the county head to head. There we go.
there we go. That's the title for this now. Just so I sound a little bit more optimistic in it. So, yeah, I suppose you have a reason to be optimistic given how Stockport are playing in terms of the league at the minute. Is it 12 in a row now?
Kieran, I'm never optimistic. I think it is something that has been knocked out of us after 11 years in the National League. I think we had a really slow start to the season. I think that's like part of it as well. Genuinely, there is, I don't know that there is a Stockport County fan that I've spoken to recently who feels comfortable with this. It's, everyone's a little bit, oh, this is really nice, isn't it? I wonder, but it probably won't last past Saturday. And that's very much been the attitude. I remember talking to someone, months ago, I guess it would have been. And it was very much like, oh, I think we'll probably win the next two. But then we've got, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Accrington, like, oh, we could come unstuck there. And everyone, as we've gone through, has thoroughly expected every week to be the week that we slip up. But yeah, I mean, the football maths keeps saying that things should go our way, but this is Stockport County, and we don't observe football maths very often, unfortunately.
Well, that's bizarre. That's quite the opposite of what I expected you to. Given the fact that we're in November, you're 6 points clear of the top, 41 of them in it. But I understand that there's kind of a level of everyone can say you'll finish top and you'll win the league and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, computers can't really predict League Two football. So yeah, I kind of understand that.
And there's two things as well that make League Two even more treacherous. Sounds very dramatic, but the table is very, very congested. There's a big, that's good, sorry, ego. There's a big-ish gap at the top and there's a big-ish gap at the bottom. But in the middle, like there's points, 1 or 2 points between each team, and quite a few teams, I think on 20 points there's 3 or 4. So it's that congestion which means that the table can change dramatically week in, week out. And the other part to League Two this season is there is zero consistency from anyone. And every time I say that, someone says, oh, apart from Stockport County, like, yes, over the last 12 games. But prior to that, we were all over the place and had zero consistency. And clubs like Crawley, who surprised everyone at the beginning of the season, have slipped down the table. Accrington and Morecambe have come up. So there's just so much volatility in it that I think it would be naive at best to be at all complacent about, I just want to finish in the top 3. I honestly don't care whether I can't, the playoffs was horrific last season. Obviously very grateful to be there and all of that, but I would really like to avoid them if possible.
I mean, to be fair, as a Newport fan, playoffs is it's a sore topic. So, yeah, admittedly, I also understand why you don't want to be in playoffs because we've had 2 separate issues where we've been in the playoffs and we've kind of slipped up. But you mentioned how close the table is, from top to bottom, middle, and everything. We're on 19 points after the games that have been played. I'd like to say a win can take us up to It's like 14th or 15th
Right.
or
Yeah,
20th.
because there's all those teams on 20. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the bottom of the league, the bottom two, they're like a good while from kind of getting out, especially I believe it's Sutton who are
Hmm.
last, and they're kind of, like 4 or 5 points away. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, that can be changed dramatically. So anyway,
absolutely.
off of the league on to just, this fixture. I'd like to say the last time we played you, it was obviously last season, the away day where it was another thing of inconsistency. We went and beat Northampton
Yeah.
3-0 at home, went over to your ground, lost 4-0. So, yeah, are you hoping or rather expecting something of similar nature where you control the game on Saturday?
Never expect anything, Kieran. I think what we have done this season, different to last season, is we have been able to change shape, change tactics in response to a playing style. So a good example is against Swindon a couple of weeks ago. Even gosh, who on earth was it on Saturday? Colchester.
Chelsea.
So there was, that both of them started very strong, or, the first half, and obviously I talk about our matches a lot, and it's quite common for me to say, oh, the first half was quite even. And then the second half is where I don't know. I don't know what he says to them at half time. I don't know whether it's um, just a kind of hitting stride and getting the measure of the teams that we're up against. But I think if teams go out very, very strong in the first half, last season we struggled to recover from it. We'd go one down and that would be it. Like heads would go down, they would flap and panic, and that would be it. And it was about holding on for a draw at best. This season, that has changed. We have got and again, with no ego, because it's not always been like that this season. We've got really good squad depth. So again, we're in a really fortunate position where, 80 minutes in, you can throw Kyle Noyle, Paddy Madden, and Callum Camps on. And last week, Charlie made a substitution at half time, which is really, really unusual for him. It doesn't tend to happen. So the squad depth is helping massively. But at the beginning of this run, I think it was Accrington, and we were really, really struggling. Two goalkeepers on the bench, injuries left, right, and centre, and we've still got injuries, but we're in a position where we've been able to give people time to come back rather than rushing. So I think that I wouldn't expect to run away with it. People watch in the same way that, after the Wrexham game, Charlie said, "Oh, I'd studied Wrexham's tapes and knew about their tactics." We're seeing the same with people playing Notts County. They're starting to get the measure of them and how to defend against them. So it will be exactly the same. Graham Coughlin will be spent the last week looking at tapes of Kyle Wootton. So I think it's I never expect anything ever. I would expect it to be a tougher first half if the last few games are anything to go by, and we've. I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't expect. I never expect a 3-0
I mean,
like mega
yeah.
mega win. It's not in my nature. And I didn't expect it then either. I remember writing the preview, and I was on holiday. I missed the Newport home, like our home game. And I remember writing the preview and saying, "Oh, Newport have had a really good run in, and we had injuries then, and we started to be a bit erratic." And I refused to watch it because we had the dodgy Fire Stick in the hotel, and yeah, I refused to. I absolutely wasn't expecting that at all.
I mean, I can't say I was expecting it around the time, especially because we came
Yeah,
off a 3-0 win against, Northampton, and ended up going
right.
up. And we went to your place. Don't get me wrong, it was near end of season. It didn't really matter. But,
No, no.
you can't expect to go from a 3-0 home win to then the week later you're losing 4-0. But
Mhm.
again, that kind of brings the nature of this league and the kind of unpredictability of it. You go from on top of the world one week and then you're down in the dumpster next. But yeah, it's absolutely bizarre how this league works, and you're giving me a lot more confidence than I was kind of expecting. I remember you messaging me saying I'm expecting this podcast to be me kind of, I guess, bigging up Stockport and saying that we'll be absolutely controlled for the majority of the game, and now you're kind of saying if you kind of score in the first half, we're in a bit of trouble. But equally, I think if you lot score first, I think that'll probably be the game equally as much. So we had it against Mansfield, where we had a good amount of we had a good opening 5 minutes or so, and then we conceded really early on, and we never really looked like we were going to get back into the game. Saying that, we had a 5 minute, I don't even know how to describe it. It was a 5 minute period of us absolutely controlling them at the start of the second half. I think our issue has been a lot more of a situation where we make mistakes, or really easy mistakes at clinical times that'll mean we'll go down, or we won't finish chances that you'd expect. And I'd expect that'd be a thing that you lot kind of counter, and that for the most part you're pretty solid at the back, and you take the chances that you make because you are top scorers in the league as well. So is that
top
kind of
scorers in all leagues, Kieran?
in all leagues?
I know. In fairness, like I was talking about this to someone the other day, and they're like, "Oh, but you've played more games because the Premier League haven't played as many games." I was like, "No, that's fine. Yeah, top points and top scorers of all the league." And that, given honestly, as much as I play it down, given the start to our season, I couldn't be prouder and happier of this little run, and I don't expect it to last forever. I don't. We slip up at silly times. We always have done, but it is really lovely for the club and everyone associated with it at the moment.
Yeah, it's I could only envy you and hope that a similar situation. But given that, I'm a lot more of an optimistic fan than most when it comes to supporting a team that are down this level. We had the game against Mansfield. We lost 2-0, and I was saying kind of in the replies I was saying, we did well and all this other stuff, you're playing a side that are unbeaten in the league, they had a and we did decently, and you can't expect us to win games when we've got our own injury crisis that it looks like we're coming towards the back end of it now. We've had Seb Barlow and James Clark come back. I was saying we did well given the circumstances. I got absolutely rinsed in replies for it.
No one wants to hear that though, do they? When they're nursing a loss, and off the back of a not great run, it's no one wants to hear the happy clappy Kieran.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, maybe I'm coming at an unfitting time, but I
just keep it under your hat, and then in a few weeks be like, "I told you so."
No, because I'd much rather be very expressive about it, and then when it switches, because inevitably it will, that's how football works, I'll be able to say, I called this months ago and you all had a go at me for it.
Yeah.
So
I saw the glimmers of hope and enthusiasm. Yeah.
There's the difference with, kind of supporting a lower league or table team. It's kind of when you pick up wins, especially when we picked up a win against Gillingham, it's absolutely massive. And I understand it's equally as massive for a team up the table. But given the fact that I'm sure Stockport's confidence is likely a lot higher than Newport's is in terms of...
Well, you know what, Aaron? Winning against Gillingham isn't for everyone.
Winning against Gillingham is not for everyone. Gillingham away isn't for everyone. But I'd like to say we've never lost at Gillingham away. I might be stupid in that, so I might be corrected.
But we lost to Gillingham on the opening day of the season. Was it? Oh God, I can't even remember now. It might have been a draw. It felt like a loss. But no, it was a loss, wasn't it? Yeah, we've got bogey teams, and we're fortunate that Grimsby, I was absolutely 100% sure that our little run as it was then was going to end at Grimsby. Absolutely sure. And we had Crewe and Tranmere in the same week. Tranmere are what they are at the moment. But Crewe are pretty good, and then under Lee Bell have been coming out with some massive results. We've got Salford on Tuesday, and Salford, obviously, there's kind of the local element to it. They are very erratic and inconsistent at the moment. And again, football maths suggests that we should be fine, and we will be carrying this run through to Morecambe on the following Saturday. But honestly, again, no expectations. It will be what it is.
Yeah, it's it. Salford's one of the ones where I think they're our bogey team. We went up to their place when they had this run. They were bottom of the league and they hadn't won in so long, and we were the team to end up losing to them and gave them, the kind of kick they needed. And now they're starting to pick up results, but then again, they're having results go against them. But
Yeah.
speaking of Salford, I didn't really want to go into this, but we've got a certain ref that refed a.
Oh my God. I saw it come
Yeah.
through. Honestly, like, it's a bit of a joke at Look Sports Media, because obviously there was the drama with Bradford. Yeah, I mean, it was going back a good few seasons ago. So Drysdale is always a bit of a, like, even though I don't think he's ever been, I can't remember a particularly bad incident, I've almost got that associated trauma. But yeah, I mean, I was at that Salford Peterborough game that he refereed, and I would say that throughout the game he was largely fair. There were some kind of odd decisions, but it was at least equally equally inconsistent. But yeah, there was that additional time, stoppage time that Peterborough scored in, that should never have. I've not seen a defence of it. I don't know whether Salford had an apology, because there's that whole PGMOL, isn't there, that get together and discuss things. So no, personally, I don't feel particularly offended by Drysdale, but I've seen enough of his influence, especially recently at that game, to be wary.
Yeah, I was in a very similar boat, and I never like talking refs because at the end of the day, now all of a sudden, if we end up losing, I can go, but Drysdale, he was in. So I could end up saying that at the end of the game, but it's never something I like to talk about. But given the fact that we were talking about Salford, you kind of connect all lines together. The ref exists. I'm hoping he's not going to be a big talking point because that'll ruin the game. It's one of the ones where, despite I'm very nervy going into it, I'm quite excited for the fact of, are we the team to end up ending your streak, and can we start, as I probably won't be liked anymore of this by being a happy clapper, but can we start a run of our own at the end of the day of maybe not of unbeaten in 14, or whatever it is, but get a bit further up the table than where we are. Because despite the fact that I'm ever so happy that we're not in the relegation zones, given all the news we had, it's always nice to push up the table a little bit. And it's one of the ones where I'm kind of hoping. I'm hoping that I'm expecting it.
Yeah, it would be a confidence win, wouldn't it? And that we're getting to a point, we're not that far off halfway through the season, where you start to kind of think, actually, I feel safe now in terms of the number of points. And by January, and the season finishes ridiculously early this season. Like, we were trying to work out dates for something for Look Sports Media, and the playoffs are early. It's basically like Easter, and then you're done not long after. And Easter's really early this year as well. So I think, yeah, it would be a confidence win, and it would be nice. But equally, we've equaled the record now. So a win on Saturday would give us the record, which I think is quite significant.
Yeah, I think that's it'll give you, I'm sure, a bit more of a reason to go and pull out a result. Less so for hey, let's see if we can stick ourselves higher up the top of the table. So we can embed ourselves in history here. But yeah,
Mhm.
I literally just had a look at when our last game is. It's Bradford away on the 27th of April, and that's
Yeah,
I understand there'll be playoffs probably at the beginning of May, but you normally
yeah.
associate the end of the season with,
They
mid
are
May.
their May Day weekend. Some of
Yeah,
them, they're across 2 weekends this year. And last season they were the Whit bank holiday weekend. So they're a good 2 or 3 weeks earlier. Um but yeah, we'll see. It's fine. It's fine.
it's fine. No, if we can put any positives out of it, we can watch more football, and the times is football. There's a lot more Saturday, Tuesdays, which am I going to argue that benefits the teams with the bigger squads? Can I use that as another excuse? Probably not, but within a football optimism, I can say that, and it's not something that as much as I love the fact we've got Saturday, Tuesday games a lot more often than not, I hate it because of our squad depth and all the injuries I've been able
Mm.
to talk about. And you mentioned, despite the fact you've got a few injuries, I'm pretty sure Louis Barry's out, isn't he? But yeah,
Yeah.
it seems that you've got a big enough squad to kind of be able to cope with the fact that we've got more games, probably in a shorter, not even probably, definitely in a shorter duration of time.
Yeah, we've got, so Louis Barry's out, and obviously so he was on a 12-month loan, so we were supposed to have him for the end of the season. And actually, weirdly, his injury may end up helping us because there was an awful lot of attention from like League One Championship that were hoping to come in and get him in January. And, so we'd do 6 months with us and then to the end of the season with someone else. It's unlikely now, I think, that would happen. And one of the things that Charlie said last weekend in the corporate lounge before the game was that the conversations with Villa are looking positive. So he's expected to be back in kind of February time, which would give him, a couple of months of games. And if they want to sell him on in the summer, then they can do. But he's had another good run out rather than taking some time to get into the team. We've got Miles Hippolytus is out until Christmas, New Year. Jack Stretton's out all year with an ACL. And there's a few others that are kind of on the fringe of coming back, but that's the luxury that we have at the moment, that they can play the whatever it's called, Bristol Street Motors games. They can against Worksop, we put out a weakened team. We will probably do the same against Aldershot until it starts to go a bit Swindon, and then, maybe walk back on that a little bit. But yeah, squad depth is making a massive difference for us at the moment, because last January we lost to Grimsby on New Year's Day, and it just fell apart. There were injuries. I think COVID went through the squad. It was the kind of the few weeks that followed were the undoing of our season. And I like to think that we're not at so much risk of that as we were last year. She says, I'm such an idiot. Don't know why I say things like this.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, I understand that it can, you can say this and then someone go clip it back in a few months if you picked up more injuries or your season slipped. But as of right now, you've got a squad that is more than capable of playing games, consistently, and having teams that might, look weaker, but evidently they can do a job against teams
Yeah.
that are needed when and how they come presents. I wish we had that luxury. I would name the injuries we've got, but I know I'm going to miss one or two of them because that's the extent of what we've got. One that I can say, or rather two that I can say, is that, like I said, Seth Palmer and James Clark, they came back in the Bristol Street Motors Cup. I think that's the name of it. They came back in that game against Bristol Rovers. They came as substitutes, and now they're going to be able to come back potentially, one of them, Seth Palmer Holden,
Mm.
he gives an option up front because we've had realistically Will Evans and Omar Bogle be kind of our only two strikers. So yeah, having the option of Seb Palmer home, given how well he started the season up until the injury he got against Brentford in the Cup, given the fact he did so well up until then, and he's mentioned in interviews since that, he's really eager to kind of get back, and he was really well recovered, and he's kind of got more ambition to do better now. It's only a positive thing for us, and having James Clark back as an extra centre back, so always needed, because Declan Drysdale's now out until past the new year. Poor man can't catch a break. So yeah, it's nice to know that we've got a few injuries coming back. We've still got a few that they won't come back until after Christmas, even not later. So it'll be an interesting, but it's given a point where I can kind of say, what I can probably name you the exact lineup that we give against you lot on a Saturday, not because we've got a lineup that's, vastly better than the entire substitutes we've got. It's just that we've not got the availability to really pick and choose. So it's really unfortunate, and I'm really glad in the way that we haven't had a Tuesday game. So we've had the entire week to kind of rest and get ready for this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose I'll go for the final question I've got, which is just a very generic one. Overall predictions for the game. I know you said that you don't expect an absolute thrashing, and I normally don't love predictions, but I'll ask it anyway.
I hate predictions because I hate being wrong about anything, and I'm always wrong. I will go with science and maths and say 3-1 to Stockport County.
Okay, hold on. If I say 2-1 to County, then which one am I directing to at the end of the day?
I know. Yeah.
There we go. If it slips either way, then I'm technically right. I'll use that clip as the one that I'll a genius if it ends up going right. But in terms of a overall prediction, that I'll actually say who I think will win, I'm not going to go off of science and maths, because science and maths does not dictate us to win this game any percentage of the time. So I'll always back us at home. Admittedly, I'll always back us. I backed us against Mansfield. So I'll say we'll win 2-1. But, I suppose the reason that I don't like predictions is that, you can't predict what will happen in a football game with people and stuff. I think the thing that will dictate this game, and, I kind of said it in the Mansfield game, is who scores first. I feel like whoever scores first will be able to maybe not, control the game, because there's a lot more of a chance that after we score, we'll kind of not be able to settle. And, there's been times where we've conceded quickly, but I suppose I'm in the hope that if we do score first, we'll be able to kind of quiet down and hold it out. And I know that we had a lot of situations where we were grinding out for 1-0s and stuff, or, potentially pushing out for a second. And if we wouldn't have got that, we'd just sit back for the entire game. So, yeah, I'll go 2-1 based off of we'll score first and hold it for a good majority of the time. But at the end of the day, who knows? So, yeah, I think unless you have realistically anything you want to say, I think about the game, I think I'm ready to wrap it up.
No, thank you for having me, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
I really do look forward to it. But the one thing I will mention, saying that, because I do want to point this out, we've got the Jason Bowen shirt that of course will be worn for this game on Saturday. It's
I tried to buy one earlier. They're sold out, the adults ones.
I think they're in the club shop. I will be having a look, because not only do I think it's an absolutely lovely shirt, just because I kind of like blue and all this other stuff, but it goes to a really good cause. Every £10 from that shirt goes towards Jason Bowen's treatment, and goes towards the charity that have funded him towards his MND treatment. I don't know why I kind of looked up there. It's got on my screen in front of me. So it's a really nice gesture, and if you can get one of the shirts, I'd advise you getting it, not only because I'll be biased and say I absolutely love the shirt, and the extra good initiative of it, and even more of a bonus, it's Black Friday week, so it comes with a discount. So there we are.
I don't know whether it does, and I guess nor should it, but they have still got the kids ones and the baby ones available online. But yeah, I'll see if I can get one of them Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Saying that, I think this shirt comes, you know, all of the Black Friday prices, because I know they did that with everything. They've done it with all shirts, but you know, even if it isn't out of the kind of just good initiative the shirt holds, I think
100%.
it's there. It's good to get, and who knows, after, you know, this game, it could be one of the things where it kind of goes, because we've been advertising this as the game for it. So yeah,
Mhm.
other than that, I'm all ready for wrap it up. Thank you, Hannah, for, you know, taking
Thank
the
you.
or whatever it is, you know, to have a chat about the game and refs and everything in between. So yeah, thank you all for watching. If you've made it this far, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, as always, support the channel wherever way you see fit, using all the links in the description. There will also be a link to the shirts, the Jason Bones shirt, should you choose to purchase that. Like, you know, Hannah's mentioned, I don't think there's any adult options. You know, if you want to buy one of the kids ones or one of the baby ones, you know, up to you. Also, you know, the entire store will be on there anyway. So yeah, other than that, I have nothing else to say. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're watching this. And I hope I can come back on here soon and say, hey, we've beaten Stockport, we've ended the run, go us, let's start our own. So yeah, take care.